Surviving the Applewhites, Chapter 15. Her father hadn't been gone 2 minutes before Jake started humming Rolf's song. Edie shut down the computer and stormed out of the schoolroom, her stomach churning. She had just started up the stairs to her room when the CD began again, and the house filled with the opening notes of the Sound of Music's overture. Almost immediately, the hammering started up in Hal's room. Edie turned and went out through the kitchen, slamming the screen door behind her. Under the big beech tree near the barn, Lucille was reading to Destiny. Polly, from the porch of her grandfather's cottage, was shrieking with maniacal laughter. And the strains of Ophelia's death ballet drifted up from the dance studio. These sounds, along with the high, vibrant thumb of cicadas, seemed to almost collide inside her skull with the music from the house. Now that she was out here, she didn't know what she wanted to do. There was no need to get the butterfly net and head out to the meadow. There were no more butterflies to find, and she couldn't do any other work unless she went back to the schoolroom first to get her materials. Right now, she didn't care whether she ever went back to the schoolroom again. She didn't know why she was feeling the way she was feeling. For that matter, she didn't know what she was feeling, but she didn't care. Whatever it was awful, and she wanted to make it go away. She kept walking till she found herself at the goat pen. Wolfie had to be in the shed. Only Hazel was outside. She was in the corner of the pen, her head under the bottom rail, her neck stretched as far as it would go, trying to reach a clump of weeds on the other side. Not so much as a blade of grass was growing inside the pen. The goats had stripped it clean. Their food trough was empty. Edie pulled up the clump of weeds by the roots and tossed it over the fence. Hazel pulled her head free, picked up the weeds, and began munching. Edie decided to get a scoop of feed for her and had just put one hand on the gate when Wolfie came thundering out of the shed. Eyes blazing, head down, he tore past Hazel and crashed into the gate so hard the impact jolted Edie's arm clear to her shoulder. "Fine!" she said to the goat, who had now snatched the weeds from Hazel and was shaking them from side to side as if killing them. "You can just starve for all I care! Both of you!" The lathe started up in the woodshop. Edie followed the sound like a trail of breadcrumbs. Maybe hanging out with Zedediah for a while would make her feel better. Zedediah could always make her feel better. "Whoa, Nellie," her grandfather said over the sound of the lathe as she slipped in through the door. "Who skunked your dog?" "What?" He turned off the machine. "I haven't seen anything as threatening as the expression on your face since I saw a tornado heading for the highway while I was driving back from the coast in a hurricane." There were 3 newly finished rocking chairs in the shop. Edie threw herself into one of them. "Where's Archie?" "Is he the one you're mad at?" "No. I'm not mad at anybody." Zedediah shook his head. "Could have fooled me. Archie took that reporter kid down to the old highway bridge to do a little fishing." "Fishing?" Edie couldn't remember any member of her family ever going fishing. "He bought a pole while he was in town, and they went out so he can practice. Seems when the television people come, they'll want to get some tape of us doing regular old country things to show them that when we aren't making art, we're just plain folk. It's supposed to be good for ratings." "Oh." Edie set the rocking chair moving. "Easy, easy. You rock that hard, you're going to rock the chair right over on you. What's eating at you?" Edie shrugged. "Nothing." Zedediah brushed sawdust off his work apron and settled himself in another of the rocking chairs. "Right, I can see that." "Dad's going to give Jake a part in the Sound of Music, a real part with a song and everything." "Ah." Edie frowned at her grandfather. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing, just aw. Anything else?" Edie wanted to tell him about the Great Spangled Fritillary, but she couldn't. Just thinking about how it would sound stopped her. How could she be angry about getting some help? "And then there's Jeremy Bernstein," she said. Why has she said that? How come he's still here? Because he doesn't have a pair of quarters to rub together. He didn't have collision insurance on that old wreck of his. He can't afford to leave. Somebody could buy him a bus ticket or something. Are you kidding? He practically worships the ground we walk on. Who among us can resist that? The kid's obsessed with art and artists. Besides, he's got a head full of projects he wants to do about us. First, the TV show. That's supposed to spin off into a feature-length documentary. Then he's planning to write separate articles about each of us and sell them to different magazines. Probably an article about the Creative Academy, too. And then there's his book. It's a good deal all the way around. He gets room and board and a place to work, and we get our own personal press agent. Zedediah rocked for a while in unison with Edie. She realized she could hear ever so faintly the music up at the house. She felt her hands clench into fists. So Randolph thinks Jay can sing, eh? Zedediah said. She nodded. I have something to tell you, and I want you to listen. Are you listening? Edie nodded again. I said, are you listening? Yes, I'm listening. All right, then. You, Edith Wharton Applewhite, have talent. Very real, very important talent. Just because somebody like Jeremy Bernstein is obsessed with artists doesn't mean that artists are the most valuable people in the world, or that art's better than everything else human beings do. Edie thought of her curriculum notebook, her project charts, her goals and teaching opportunities and timelines. I know that, she said. She knew that. He didn't have to tell her. But right this minute, it didn't make her feel one whit better.